Remember the 15th of April, mate. Seems to be the day that WWE are doing their releases. A year to the day where they released all those other guys last year, the Miros or Rusevs, Zack Ryders, all of those guys. And they've released a whole host of people today. We're going to get into it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is WrestleManiac YouTube channel. News, breaking news! What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, wrestling enthusiast, WrestleManiac, if you will. Today, we're talking about the WWE releases. Very unorthodox video. I was just done with my day, uploaded a podcast and everything. Kicking back, watching a bit of football. And then all these releases started coming through. Absolutely crazy. I want you guys to really sound off in the comments, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with these releases, how it's a year to a day, why WWE are doing this in the first place. I think that's a massive question. It just really doesn't make much sense. Last year they blamed them in the middle of pandemic, that's why they're doing it, etc. We kind of bought it, even though like a week later they kind of announced that they have X amount of cash reserves and stuff like that. 500 million, I think it was, cash reserves. Now all of a sudden, what's your excuse? What is your excuse to be doing this? It's a bit mad. It's a bit crazy. Morally, is it the right thing to do? Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but I see my bro High Flyer in the comments. Thanks for joining, bro. High Flyer says, I don't really know what to say, bro. It's one of them ones. I'm gonna read the press release in just a second, but yeah, it's just one of them ones where it's just like absolutely crazy. Like, why must they find a reason to do this? And the problem is they're only gonna go and sign more people and then do this to a whole another batch of people. It's really not the one. It's really not how you want to be treating your staff. You don't want to become known as a company that does this. They don't seem to care. This is the thing. They actually don't seem to care, because they will do this again, next year and the year after that. This continues. Like, they actually do not care about this at all. Like, it's pretty sad, but yeah, glad to see that everyone's all right anyway. Like, this could have been worse. This could have been down to something else, like COVID, like last year was, or last they said it was. But I think now you can't really believe them, can you, in regards to that? But yeah, thanks for everyone joining. High Flyer here says Samoa Joe, hands down, one of the best of his generation, end of an era. Bro, 100%, 100%. Don't know what they're doing here with Samoa Joe. Wow. Arpit has said, can't expect anything better from Vince. Oh man, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? It's a really sad state of affairs right now. I just don't know. Like, you told us last year it was the pandemic. So what is it this year? You see what I mean? Like, that is clearly not an excuse anymore. Well, we knew it wasn't an excuse the minute you said you had 500 million in cash in your accounts. So how could it have ever been an excuse in the first place? You see what I mean? Man, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. High Flyer, morally, for any company, especially one of the biggest franchises in the world, it's shady. 100%. Very shady. Arpit says Joe will do so much better outside of WWE. Yeah, 100%. High Flyer goes on to say as well, expect any more? If so, who? Well, I guess the other big name we're probably expecting, or the biggest name we're expecting from these cuts, is probably Aleister Black. It's probably Aleister Black, surely. And nothing has been mentioned. I do believe that there's probably a chance that they're not finished making these cuts. Because this is what happened back to last year. For those that remember, they made a bunch. They kind of cooled down. I don't know, and then they made another bunch afterwards. So they're probably not finished. They're probably near finishing, but by my estimations on going off what happened last year, they're probably not quite finished just yet. Let's take a look at the press release. The press release says WWE has come to terms on the release of Samoa Joe, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake as of today, April 15th, 2021. We wish them their best in all of their future endeavors. Future endeavors, huh? Like, let's talk about Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe is obviously the biggest name on that list. He was just on commentary, right? And is this part of the reason they moved him off commentary, changed the commentary teams around, brought in this guy from ESPN to release him? He was commentating at WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy was commentating at WrestleMania. Literally on the weekend. On the weekend, he had a job. Yeah? Gone. We're all thinking he's got taken off commentary so that, you know, he can go back to being Samoa Joe in the ring. And that doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, it's a very weird one. It's a very weird one. Arpit has said here, Murphy maybe is another name to leave. You know, the thing is, you hope they see something in these people, but even with the people they released, they should have seen something in. So you just don't know. Like, you really just don't know. Like, the bottom of the people that I would say are safe is maybe the Cesaros of this world. Anyone under that could probably get it. Anyone under that could probably lose their job. High Flyer says rest of Lucha House Party. So like I read out, obviously Kalisto's gone. That's it's crazy that Kalisto's gone, yet they're still using the Lucha House Party name as if he wasn't like the person that put Lucha House Party together. Absolutely crazy. Sasha Banks, Kalisto's one of her good friends. I don't even know how they don't find a spot for Kalisto. Like, he's good. He's very good. And him being a luchador is like his niche. Not everyone there is luchadors, you know. High Flyer says, I don't want to sound like I'm tolerating this, but all the releases apart from K were in dead ass positions, to be fair. I mean, if we look at the list in terms of people that were gone, Samoa Joe, he's been cleared in terms of he can get back in the ring, and they've let him go, which is crazy to me. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Now, you split the Iconics because you said you saw something in Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce never got to shine, right? Billie Kay was getting more airtime than Peyton Royce was. And Billie Kay was on WrestleMania. You forced her into a WrestleMania match, but she was on WrestleMania regardless. And now she's gone. Billie Kay, like, you're trying to build a women's division, a women's tag division, especially. Like, is that not the case? And you've got rid of one of your first tag team champions. Weren't they were the second tag team champions? They won it at WrestleMania. They won it at WrestleMania 35. It's absolutely crazy. Like, it's just, there is no long-term planning going on here. I mean, if we continue just going through this list, Mickie James commentated on the pre-show of TakeOver 2 nights, Stand and Deliver. For those that didn't watch the pre-show, Mickie James was the commentator along with Vic Joseph on both nights, on both pre-shows of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Gone. Furthermore, Mickie James is an absolute legend. Yeah. Mickie James is an absolute legend. So for you to get rid of her in this fashion, it's just a lack of respect. Like, you know, I'm sure maybe she still wants to wrestle, but like surely the way you could have gotten rid of her, or like given her like a Legends contract, or you know, just being a bit more tactful with how you're releasing someone that you should hold very close to your heart in terms of the company, you know. Man, this is super poor. It's just not on. It's not on. Chelsea Green, that's someone that struggled with injuries and they've let her go now. Yeah, I can understand that one. But to be honest, it's very weird for me with Chelsea Green because she didn't have much of an NXT run. They brought her up to the main roster. So you would imagine if they did that, they see something in her. Not the case, clearly. You've got rid of her. Maybe she goes back to Impact. Obviously, her husband, are they married? Her and Zack Ryder. I'm not sure if they're married or not, but her partner, at least, Zack Ryder, is at Impact. Maybe she goes back to Impact. I think AEW could definitely do with her. And AEW is going to be a name that, you know, is literally going to trend today because everyone's going to talk about, should this person end up in AEW? Should that person end up in the AEW? Yeah, Chelsea Green's been unfortunate with injury, so I could understand that one somewhat. Tucker, they split him and Otis. He had one match on Raw, I think, after that. Other than that, he's been involved in a lot of 24/7 division stuff. So kind of makes sense. But Tucker got himself into a pretty good shape for those that saw Tucker just before he's left. So hopefully he can land himself something. Kalisto, again, this is someone that he's been a US champion, cruiserweight champion, I believe, as well, tag team champion. So yeah, they definitely probably could have done better with Kalisto, I would think. So I don't know what's going on there. Bo Dallas, the man that I guess everyone was wondering how he escaped the cuts last year. He's gone now. Bo Dallas has been released. Absolutely blows my mind how they never done anything with Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, the brothers. How didn't that happen? Why wasn't that a thing ever? You know, it just makes zero sense. But hey, he's gone. And Wesley Blake. So Wesley Blake was on a tag team with Buddy Murphy in NXT. He went on to form the Forgotten, what are they called? The Forgotten something. On the main roster with what's his name? Steve something. Steve got released in January because I think he was partying during COVID or something like that. And then obviously Jackson Riker got picked up by Elias despite his racial comments and views. Forgotten Sons, thank you, Art Pit. That's the name. Forgotten Sons. Yeah, never really happened for Wesley Blake. Even in NXT with Buddy Murphy, he was kind of being carried. That one makes a bit of sense to me. But all the best to Wesley Blake. All the best to all of these guys, man, with what they go on to do. Maybe we see Mickie James. I think we should see Mickie James, Chelsea Green, and AEW 100%. Samoa Joe is a very easy one for us to say, you know, we should see him in AEW as well. AEW is getting crowded. It is getting crowded, but I would like to see him in AEW. But definitely Mickie James and Chelsea Green could be pivotal in AEW. Mickie James as a legend, same way they're using the guys over there. If they use Mickie James as an on-screen character, as a legend, you know, that could be really good. She can have one-off matches. Chelsea Green, she's got a lot to offer, man. She's already been Impact Women's Champion. That just shows you the levels. She's got a lot to offer. So, yeah, would be interesting to see her turn up in one of these places. But it's just crazy. Like I've still kind of just not got my head around, you know, how these guys they're just generally treated. Like Joe was on commentary on the weekend, like literally at Mania on the weekend. and now he's unemployed. Um, Jackson Riker, like he's someone that we've all said for a while maybe should have been released just because of his views alone. It's kind of silly stuff got caught saying. He's still around, you know. Um, just picking up on some of the comments. Arpit says, "I'm not even mad. This sucks so much. It does. It's just you don't really like to see anyone lose their job, do you? Like even people that you weren't seeing week to week on TV. It's like it's just a bit of a mess. High flyer. I feel awful for everyone involved as a fan and hopefully future talent of the business. Yeah, man. It's very very weird. No one likes this day, and I don't like the fact that they're making this day a thing. Like it was 15th of January, sorry, 15th of April last year when this happened. Now today, 15th of April, and it's happened again. High flyer, I ain't even kidding. What about Keith Lee? Well, Keith Lee, I think would be a big shock if they let him go. I couldn't see why they would want to let him go. Um, he's a very good talent, very phenomenal talent. I think he's just been injured and unwell right now. That's why we haven't seen much of him. But incredible, incredible. If they got rid of Keith Lee, I think there'll be riots. Half-Life says again, Chelsea Green definitely going back to Impact with Cardona. Yeah, I think that's a obvious destination as long as she didn't leave there on bad terms or anything. If I'm correct, did she leave as part of the issues that was going on with Tessa Blanchard? She may not have been happy with how that was being dealt with, and that left to her leaving or deciding to leave. That could be a thing, but obviously Tessa's not there right now, so yeah, she may return. Highfly says Tucker's treatment was embarrassing. Yeah, the whole thing with splitting him with Otis. It's like why? Like, and then you go and put Otis in a tag in a tag team with someone else, Chad Gable, and Chad Gable's phenomenal and everything, but it's like, like it just doesn't make sense, man. Arpit says Joe in New Japan versus Tanahashi, Okada, Ishii, and Suzuki. Yeah, book it, bro. Book it. it's there's grounds for this to be very, very, interesting as to where people will turn up. I just don't think that anyone should like leave leave in this way. But yeah, those would be some dream matches right there. High Flyer, as much as Joe might kill it in AEW, I'm not sure it will happen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would like to see him there, but Tony Khan now has a lot of money as always, and he's got a few more options of people he could bring in, and obviously at the same time he's got to keep a happy ship. He can't sign everybody. He's got to keep a happy ship, and some of the people that he's got there already, he's got to make sure that they stay happy. They're getting as much time as possible. Obviously, he's got Dynamite. They've got Dark Elevation. They've got another hour of a TNT show coming. So there's a lot. There's a lot of possibilities that he's got quite a bit of time to allocate if he does sign some people, but at the same time, you got to develop who you do have. These Samoa Joes and other people. These guys they're bringing in. I don't think they need guys to fill up the division or girls to fill up the division now necessarily. Anyone that they may sign now would be needle movers. People that can really take their ratings and stuff higher or give them more global appeal. So, and I'm not sure anyone that got released fits that bill. Samoa Joe slightly maybe, but yeah. High Flyer says, and WWE are cutting down their women's division. So in terms of women released, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, that's a brilliant tag team. I don't even know why they got rid of them guys. Mickie James, Chelsea Green. Yeah, they weren't even using Mickie James really, let's be honest. Man, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely mad. High Flyer says Tucker physically was the better heavy machinery partner as well, in my opinion. As in better than Otis. Yeah, you could say that. Otis, of course, was the very comedic side. He got over, but due to his comedy more than anything, more than his ability. But really and truly, heavy machinery never really got a good go at it. They should have been tag champions on the main roster. They weren't even tag champions in NXT when I think about it. Just never really got a good go at it. Not cool, not fair, not the best. And yeah, it's just absolutely baffling. It's absolutely baffling as to why they would do something like this. They're not running out of money, that's for sure. Like, they're not running out of money, and it's just like, you've gone and made such a decision. And at the same time, we need to remember they're a business. I'm not backing their decisions, but they're a business. So, yeah, they're entitled to do such. But at the same time, I think it's about time some of these wrestlers get this whole unionized thing, because there's something really dodgy about these contracts that they're under. They're independent contractors, yet they get released from their contract. These guys can't wrestle or anything for 90 days now. Remember that. They can't wrestle or turn up somewhere else for 90 days. So what kind of contract? How am I an independent contractor? Because I'm basically still contracted to WWE for the next 90 days. It's very, very weird. The whole setup, everything is very, very weird. It's very, very dodgy, in my opinion. I don't know. Highfly says, and competition for the main women's titles are going to be slim now as well. Like, why shouldn't they have Peyton Royce challenge Rhea Ripley? That's exactly it, man. That is exactly it, bro. It is so weird. It's really weird. Like, the whole contracting system, it needs to be discussed. It needs to be looked at by I don't know, employment law in America or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense. It don't make any sense. They're not getting, it doesn't seem like they're getting the perks of full-time staff. They're clearly not getting the perks of being an independent contractor, because even if you're independent contractor, it means you should be able to turn up anywhere. They shouldn't be just tied down to WWE. They definitely shouldn't have 90 days release clauses or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe this is me in Britain, in England, not really understanding, what the setup is. But it doesn't sound normal to me, and it never has. It never has sounded normal. There's people that, some people are calling for to be, released and stuff. Alistair Black, for the reason that, we all want to see him go on and do better. Some people are saying Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream is still employed. Like I said earlier, Velveteen Dream, Jackson Riker. It's all been, funny stuff has happened in their past, but they're still getting a crack at it. They're still in jobs. It's really crazy. It's really, it's hard to take in. High Fly, I hope somebody serious picks up on the way WWE are going about their contract system. 100%. It needs to be looked at. 100%. Yeah, it's just really dodgy. Like, that's the only word I can use for it. Arpit says, I'm feeling bad for the people who dreams to work for WWE and then gets released. Yep. I've seen a lot of stories on, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, how they came up together. They went to school together. We're talking about, secondary school, high school. They've been friends from that young. Billy Kay is a couple years older than Peyton Royce, but they were friends, and they met, found their love for wrestling through each other. Went on to, go to trials for WWE in Australia. Obviously got the job, ended up in NXT together. You know, I can't even lie. I got a bit worried when I saw Billie Kay got released, and I saw Peyton Royce was still there. She hadn't been released yet. I thought, oh, like now you've split apart, you know, best friends. But Peyton Royce was soon released afterwards. And to be honest, I'm sure with some of these, they would have asked these people, "Do you want to leave?" And you know, they didn't say, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave." Or Peyton Royce, for one, I wouldn't be surprised if she said, "Yeah, release me, let me go." Got to take a bet on yourself, you know. You got to gamble on yourself sometimes, and I wouldn't be surprised if Peyton Royce said, "Yeah, that's fine, let me go. I don't want to stick around either." So weird, absolutely crazy, man. High flyer, this might be as I'm British and I don't want to step too far, but I also feel like America plus others can be a little dodgy with this stuff. I mean, I'm not putting this down to a nation. I just think that this particular um this particular thing of the independent contractors just doesn't make sense. Like no one's ever come out to explain it, you know? So it's one of them ones. Arpit says, I really don't want like Riker to lose his job just because he said some dumb shit on the internet. For Dream, man. Look, at the same time, you know, people have lost their jobs for stuff like that. So it's like you've got to be consistent with it, you know? Um, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but I think there are, if I can say, better candidates to lose their job than others. Like if we were all given the main roster and said, okay, we've got to take out 5 people from the main roster, we got to sack some people. None of us are picking Joe. None of us are picking Joe because we know there are better candidates there that aren't really being used at all. We haven't seen them in a year plus. And there's better candidates, even because of demeanor. Someone, you might leave someone there because they're a good person backstage. Everyone likes them. They get on well with everyone. They coach and train others, you know? You might keep people in a job for stuff like that. Look at Tamina. Tamina's been at WWE for, I'm sure at this point, over 10 years, right? She's never won anything. Not even in FCW. She's never won anything. Anything. No championship gold in all of that time. Sometimes we go months without seeing Tamina. But they keep her around, maybe, you know, for other reasons. Maybe she's good with the girls backstage, trains them, stuff like that. So it's nuts. It's nuts. Like I don't wish anyone to lose their job, but some are better candidates than others, and I think that's a safe way to kind of put it. Any Twitter updates or any new releases? I hope not. I'm checking as we're talking. I'm checking, but nothing new has come up. Maybe you know there may be some stuff or something like that. People we're not so familiar with backstage, but nothing else. I'm just checking the list again. WWE have come to terms on the release of Samoa Joe, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. No new names there at this time. Um, hopefully, hopefully it stays that way because I'm not trying to see anyone else lose their job. To be completely honest, um, but yeah, High Flyer says at this point, release Vince. Yeah, it's man, I don't even know what to say. It's just so weird. Like it's so weird. I mean, if we just go through these guys and girls. Samoa Joe, again, he was on your biggest show of the year just on the weekend. I was about to say a week ago. It hasn't even been a week. Hasn't even been a week. Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, two young starlets that could be something, especially in the women's tag division. They've kept them on. Mickie James, a legend for your company, you've got rid of. And I just think it's very this a bit disgraceful how you've got rid of Mickie James in particular. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. Got to treat people better than that, especially people that have done long service for your company and stuff like that. That's not good enough. A couple names here that are a bit more understandable: Wesley Blake, Bo Dallas, Tucker Kalisto, maybe Chelsea Green to an extent because of, like I say, a lot of injuries. Every time they wanted to, put her into the thick of it, she got injured. Bit more understandable. Mickie James, I understand as well, but I just feel like there should be more of a level of respect with getting rid of Mickie James. But Samoa Joe, the Iconics, that's definitely one that we're all gonna kind of mull over and just think, what has gone on there? What has gone on there? Especially Samoa Joe. They just gave him his own segment on the bump. They literally just gave him like 2 weeks ago or so his own little TV segment thing or interview segment on the bump. WWE. Like I just hate the fact that this has become a thing. 15th of April now, we're all, as it gets closer to it, the rumors and everything is gonna be going crazy. The rumor mill, because we're gonna expect it. And the funny thing is, I was literally about to record a video on the weekend about like where are they now? The people that got released on 15th of April 2020. Where are they now? And people have lost their job now this year. So it's very crazy. It's very crazy. I mean, like I said, AEW is going to be trending at this rate because it's going to be like, oh, AEW should sign this person. AEW should sign this person. It'll be interesting to see from this list who drops out of wrestling, who's done, who's done with wrestling altogether. Obviously, for Bo Dallas, we know he's got his, I think it's a housing venture, a property venture with Liv Morgan. So it'll be very interesting to see if, he goes back into wrestling or that's his thing. But Bo Dallas, if I'm correct, was one of the very, very early and very great NXT champions. Again, gone. Samoa Joe, 2-time NXT champion, gone. Never really made his stamp on the main roster. Let's be completely honest. He was fumbled on the main roster from more or less day one. I think WrestleMania 35, he had a 1-minute match with Rey Mysterio for the US Championship, which he won or retained. I can't remember if he walked in as champion. It's very, very crazy, man. There's no other way to put it. It's very, very crazy. It's very, very weird. Samoa Joe is he's a legend in wrestling, and he's not even finished. So I guess everyone's gonna say Samoa Joe to AEW. That's got to be a thing. I would love to see him in AEW, but I just don't know. like I said, is very, very crowded over there in AEW right now. So the initial reactions for everyone to say, yeah, this person's to AEW, this person's to AEW, but it is super crowded in AEW right now. Until they get that second hour, or sorry, should I say the next hour of TNT TV time? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many more people they'll sign. Look at Ethan Page, the last signee. He can't even get on TV. He's doing some backstage stuff and creepy kind of watching on matches with Scorpio Sky, but he can't even get on AEW TV right now. Really, he can't get a match. So it's crowded. We can see it's not the easiest place to kind of just go into and talk about right now. Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, I would like to think, would walk into AEW. Obviously, Peyton Royce's husband is Sean Spears, formerly Ty Dillinger in WWE. Sean Spears, part of the Pinnacle. I'm sure that Peyton Royce and Billy Kay can get a job in AEW. They don't have like a tag division over there, so to speak, in terms of the women. But I think there is a lot that these two could offer that women's division, especially in terms of entertainment. Their women's division is really good right now in terms of just the ability, the wrestling ability of the women involved, but it lacks character. It lacks character, the women's division, and that is something that Peyton Royce and Billy Kay could bring there. That character. Britt Baker's obviously a massive character over there. Chris Statlander, she's just recently come back, so we may see more of her getting over. But yeah, they could do with that. Wow, Arpit, is that what they done? 1.2 million. Wow, that's fantastic. That's really, really good. That is really, really good. So they've crossed over a million the minute that NXT is not on the same show at the same time as them. That is really, really, really impressive. So they're probably gonna be gagging with numbers like that, a rating of 1.2 million people watching AEW. They're probably gonna be gagging now at a next 2 hour show maybe on TV on TNT. Completely possible. Completely possible. If they're pulling out regularly now over 1 million um in ratings, viewership, they may have to grow the brand, get more people, and then the likes of these people that get released can come in and have somewhere else to work. That's the good thing about AEW being around. This is another prime time wrestling show where people can go and work and earn a good wage. Not to disrespect the indies. Obviously, the indies are thriving right now. But obviously, for what these guys are used to in terms of top level wrestling, AEW is, one of the top places to go. Mickie James. I mean, like I said, I think Mickie James, I would like to see her turn up in AEW, just because I feel that she can help in terms of coaching those women that are there, and really trying to bring the characters out of them. Of course, the skills in ring as well. Could she end up in NWA where her husband is, Nick Aldis? That will be very interesting to see where she ends up, if it will be NWA, whether it will be AEW at this point. But like I said, it's left a really sour taste in my mouth how they have dealt with how they've dealt with Mickie James. I don't think it's on at all. Let's see who else is here on this list. Chelsea Green. So yeah, I think Chelsea Green could be headed back to Impact. That's where her partner is, Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder. AEW as well. They could do with her. They could do with her another kind of big character that's got a lot to kind of show. I'm sure she would be very good for them. But well, to be honest, maybe Impact is enough right now because obviously the forbidden door is open, so she can cross between the two. And like I say, her husband's there, so, or her partner's there, so that might be fine. Tucker, this is where this list is going to get very, very interesting. Tucker, I'm not sure where he would go from here. If I'm completely honest, I'm really not sure. At the same time, Otis is still in the job now, but once Otis isn't funny to Vince anymore, Otis is out the door. 100%. I can't see that lasting for ages and on, going on and on and on. But yeah, Tucker, very interesting to see where he will end up. But he looks like he's got himself into shape. Maybe he still has, dreams of pursuing wrestling at a high level. So all the best to him. Kalisto, I think Kalisto could walk into most places. I think Kalisto could probably walk into most places and do very well. So uh yeah, I don't think Kalisto will have an issue finding somewhere to turn up in. Um Bo Dallas, again, like I questioned, is he going to be done with wrestling? He's got his property venture that he's doing with Liv Morgan. I think that's his girlfriend. I think that's been confirmed. I can't see Bo Dallas turning up anywhere like AEW. Maybe Impact. Bo Dallas could probably turn up in Impact, garner some interest. He is a very good wrestler. So that could be a spot for him. Maybe Impact. If it's anywhere else, maybe like a Ring of Honor. But definitely at least the Impact I can see him turning up in if he wishes to continue wrestling, that is. And Wesley Blake, someone that has, let's be honest, been out of favor or never really in favor with WWE. He had a good run in NXT with Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy when they were all in a tag team. But to be honest, that was the ceiling. It never got better since then. Since they split Buddy Murphy and him, it's never got better. That was his ceiling. Forgotten Sons on the main roster. I didn't mind them too much, but once Jackson Riker said what he said, they disbanded the group because I guess everyone was you don't want to be affiliated with this guy because then everyone would think that you have the same views, So man, it's crazy. I'm gonna refresh the page. I don't think there should be any more names added. Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. No new names added here. Yeah, still crazy to think that this is just something they are going to be doing from now on. Like, it's mad. It's madness. It's absolute madness why they think that they can do something like this every year and, people aren't going to complain. They think it's absolutely fine. And, we haven't really even spoke about it from a moral perspective. There are moral elements of this that aren't right. I mean, we've already kind of looked at the contractual ones, which we're here questioning whether the contracts are right and stuff like that. But it's not cool. Arpit has said Tucker is happy though. Yeah, Tucker. I saw him tweet freedom or something like that. Yeah, I want them to be happy. And like I said, apart from, like, for some people it's just weird. For us, and it's more the way they've gone about it rather than them doing it. Like, I can only imagine they'll say, well, look, we want to, make cuts. Are you interested in leaving? They maybe agree some type of severance package where the person gets a certain percentage of their contract now up front, and then they leave. So the likes of Tucker, maybe some of these others that are just around doing nothing, I'm sure they wouldn't mind it. But like I say, Mickey James is a legend. I don't think that should be happening. I don't think that should be happening. I think there's got to be more tact when you're doing it with someone as big as Mickey James and stuff. Um, Scott Steiner, thanks for joining. He says AEW breathing down WWE's neck is becoming more and more of a reality. Brian Alvarez said they got over 1.2 million. Yeah, so we were just speaking about that not too long ago. That is a good thing because that will open them up. I mean, I think they had pretty much penned and have got signed, sealed, and delivered another hour of TV time on TNT. So this is only, if they keep growing like this, then yeah, they will probably get even more time offered to them on their programming. Maybe a full other 2 hour show, because right now it seems like this other TV show is just going to be a 1 hour show on TNT. But if they can get a whole another 2 hour show, that gives them the ability to bring in more people, and all these people that are being released, of course, are just going to gobble them up because they've got the TV time to to have them to demonstrate what they're all about. Um, but yeah, where they don't have the time right now, like I said, they've got Elevation, they've got Dark, Original Dark, and they've got Dynamite. We can't expect AEW to be, swallowing up all these names. There's some names I want to see here. There's some names I definitely want to see here, but at the same time, you know, we've got to be realistic as fans. There's other places to work, not just AEW. What's up, NK? Thanks for joining, bro. He says I'm just confused why they've done this. Let's get back. Let's go back to the top of the conversation. If you remember, 15th of April, 2020, WWE done this more people than they've done right now today, and they said, "Oh, the reasoning behind it was the pandemic, and if they're not working so many dates, not doing house shows to release them to free up the money on the books, and all of that kind of stuff." Now we obviously know WWE are massive. WWE are, McDonald's. WWE are like Disney. They're massive. So you telling us you need to get rid of certain people during a pandemic because of money reasons, from a business point of view, one can try and understand that, but we should all be cautious whether we exactly buy it or not, right? So that's what they said. They released all these guys on the 15th of April, 2020. A week later, WWE came out and said, "Oh, we've had the best year ever in our existence. We have 500 million cash reserves in the bank." Everyone take that in, please. 500 million cash. And you're here getting rid of people. A week ago, you said you got to get rid of people, financial reasons, this, that, and the other. And then you reported your best ever year with 500 million cash. Ladies and gentlemen, when people talk about businesses that are have X amount in at this, that, and the other, it's usually assets. It's usually the net worth on or assets or something like that equal like 500 million. No. Vince McMahon said he has 500 million cash. Like, he doesn't have to sell anything. This is what they have in the company. Cash. And you still got rid of these people. A year to the day, we're back here again. We're back here again, and we're wondering why. What's the excuse this time? Last year it was pandemic. Last year it was COVID. Last year was making sure you keep a strong financial position. What's the excuse this time? It's incredible. It's incredible. And like I said, from a business point of view, it happens. It happens. even in a regular kind of workplace in offices, stuff like this happened in terms of a redundancy. Obviously, when the pandemic happened, um, those that are in countries that will operate in the furlough system will know about that. But this is not on. Like, in no way, shape, or form, this should be on. And like I said, especially with their title as independent contractors. What does this even mean? What does being an independent contractor mean? Because whatever it actually means, and I'm talking about really actually means, WWE aren't abiding by it. I'm not even sure what it means, but from what it sounds like, I know WWE are just bending it and making their own rules to fit the narrative of what they want. Because remember, these guys, although they've been released today, they're basically still under contract for another 90 days because they can't turn up nowhere. NK's gone on to say these men are making budget cuts to talent like Joe and Billy Kay, but have racists and alleged abusers on their roster. Yeah, discuss this. And I'm not here to pick, sides on who should lose their job or who shouldn't. That's not really the point. However, at the same time, like I was saying earlier, there are better candidates, if you like. There are better candidates of people to cut than who they have chosen. Samoa Joe was just commentating at WrestleMania. They said they're changing up the Raw booth, the commentary booth. As fans, we will naturally get excited that, oh, Samoa Joe's not commentating anymore. Matter of time before he turns up. Matter of time before he turns up in back in the ring. We saw the angle a couple of weeks ago with Hurt Business. We some of us said that maybe Samoa Joe is going to be the new member of Hurt Business. He's got history with Bobby Lashley. He's got history with MVP. No, we didn't see Joe on commentary. People were saying, "Oh yeah, maybe he's going over to SmackDown to challenge Roman Reigns." Nah, not happening. Me here, I made a video late last week, Friday, still on my channel. Really good video. Trust me, go and check it out. On one of the stars, I said these are people that WWE need to push after WrestleMania. One of them was Samoa Joe. I said give Samoa Joe the Money in the Bank briefcase. Imagine Joe on the mic, jumping between shows, SmackDown, Raw, terrorizing Bobby Lashley, terrorizing Roman Reigns. He could even go back on the commentary booth. I was saying this the other day. I was doing a podcast with Wrestlings, and Anafi said, imagine Joe with the briefcase from the commentary table, and he just gets up with the Money in the Bank briefcase. One day he's commentating and cashes in. No, it's not happening. It's not happening because Joe doesn't work for WWE anymore. He's like the headliner. He's like a Hall of Fame class, and he's the headliner. Like, he's gone. Incredible. He's never got a fair chance. He's never got a fair chance. Headshot says, "Great show, brother. Thank you very much, man. I don't want to be here reporting on such, but here we are." Joe never got a fair chance at it. Never. And it's not completely his fault. Sorry, WWE's fault. He did have a lot of injuries. Had a lot of injuries he was working through, but years of doing what he does, Joe's not a spring chicken. I'm sure Joe's at least 40. Two-time NXT champion, but that's about it. That is about it. He won the United States Championship. I remember, like I said, had a 1-minute match with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 35, and I think that was his only WrestleMania match, if I'm correct. It's just not good enough. It's really not good enough. Mickie James women's champion, multiple time women's champion with that. And you just come to the terms of the release of one of your legends. NK says, to play devil's advocate, maybe Joe was too injury prone for their liking. Yeah, that makes 100% sense. That makes 100% sense. I think I did see that he was cleared. Like currently, he was cleared to wrestle, but obviously they still had him commentating. Hence why everyone got excited when he was no longer commentating earlier this week. Great, we're gonna get Joe back in the ring. No, not the case. In regard to NK's comment about injuries, I definitely think that's why they've got rid of Chelsea Green. Big talent. Like I said earlier, she's already kind of like climbed the mountain, if you like, in Impact. She's been in Impact Women's Champion, Knockouts Champion, but she's never really had a fair crack at it in WWE because I think she has some type of record that on every time she's debuted in NXT, on main roster on Raw, on a main roster on SmackDown, every time that Chelsea Green has debuted, she's been injured. She got injured, and that's it. So for Chelsea Green, I'm sure her reason is too injury prone. She's gone. But like I said, I'm sure she will fall on her feet. She'll be fine. Impact is where her partner, Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, is. So I'm sure she can probably walk into there. The likes of Joe, if he wants to continue wrestling, Impact will take him. AEW would probably take him, but like I said earlier, I do think AEW are a bit crowded at the minute. It's just mad to think, some of the names involved here. Mickie James, does she go to NWA where her husband is, Nick Aldis? I think Mickie James should definitely be turning up in AEW just because of the value, the experience she can give some of the women there at the minute. I think that's definitely someone that you would want to see in AEW. She can wrestle the odd match, but AEW have proved that their use of legends is elite. Honestly, it's elite. It's helping not bring things along. Some have worked better than others. Some we're still waiting for things to pay off, but they've got Vicky Guerrero obviously in there working with she'll probably be working pretty closely with some women. Mickie James, that's a big name, a big in-ring name that can add a lot of value, a lot of experience. That is someone, if there's anyone on this list I would pick to go over to AEW and really better what they're doing over there, it is Mickie James. And the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Crazy to think that Billie Kay was on WrestleMania as well, and they pushed her into that match because that her being at that in that match had no build. They basically forced her and Carmella into that match as if they had something for them, but no. Peyton Royce, the reason you split up the Iconics because you wanted to push Peyton Royce as a single star. Never got a fair crack at it. The minute you took her out the Iconics, you paired her with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans went and got pregnant. She wasn't on TV anymore. Peyton Royce went on to Raw Talk, done rah-rah speech. She eventually got a match with Asuka. Really good match. That was it. That was the last time we saw Peyton Royce. Now we see her in a name on the press release saying that she's been released. Makes no sense. But Peyton Royce's husband, Sean Spears, part of the Pinnacle, part of AEW. I'm sure there's a place for the Iconics in AEW. Like I was saying earlier, they could add much needed character because where we have a very good a women's division at AEW that's getting better, it's improving week by week what they're doing there. We're getting a lot of good wrestling. Wrestling ability for the women has never been an issue for me at AEW. It's telling stories, it's the character work, and that's what the Iconics have in spades: character work. And that's what they can build over there. Them, Britt Baker as big characters. Obviously, Jade Cargill. We've got a lot of stock in Jade Cargill. I think she's going to do very well. There's start built really putting that division together. I think it could be something. Arpit has said here, whatever happened, I hope everyone finds a new thing for them and be happy. This sucks so bad. Vince is all money now. He doesn't care about wrestling anymore. Bro, I think Vince stopped caring about wrestling quite a while ago. It never happened today. Never happened last year. I think quite a while ago. Um, he stopped caring about wrestling, and it became all about the money. You're running a business. I expect it to be about money. I don't expect it all to be about money. Wrestling is something that's very, very special. It's very, very niche. You know, it doesn't quite lie in the whole. It's completely it's completely a what do you call it? A sport. It's more than just a sport. Um, but yeah, he's not looking after it, and this is someone that um he's at the pinnacle, if you like, of the business of the wrestling industry. He's number one. He has the biggest company. Um, but he's literally gonna piss it all away. He's literally en route to pissing it all away, some way, somehow. Um, I'm just looking at just checking the website for any further releases or anything like that. Um, Nothing right now. It doesn't look like. It looks like it's fine. It's still the same names. Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Wesley Blake. All released. All released. Um, Will Rally Sport Rally, thanks for joining us. He said, hi, feel awful for Chelsea Green. Got injured, then just got medically cleared this week. Yeah, that's true. I think it was last week she was medically cleared, in fact. I think it was last week she was medically cleared, but this week now released. She should join her fiance, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. What a shock, Samoa Joe. Yeah. Um, weird decisions. Yeah, Chelsea Green, like I said earlier, we can all probably put it down to just, unfortunately, too many injuries. WWE, especially if you're championship caliber, straight off the bat, and they can see the amount of injuries you have. They'll sour on you. Same way they soured on Finn Balor. They gave him everything when he turned up to the main roster. Universal Championship, brand new belt that they made. He got injured, obviously, during his match with Seth Rollins. That was it. That was it. We didn't see him again. It took a while for him to return to that kind of level. He won the Intercontinental Championship eventually, but lost that and lost his direction. He's now a reborn, brand new guy in NXT, basically. But now he's not NXT champion anymore. Is it a matter of time before we see him back on the main roster? Um, we shall see. But yeah, they're not very keen on their guys being injury prone. An odd injury here or there, fine, but being injury prone, something else. Arpit says Sean Spears is part of Pineapple. Yeah, stealing Jericho's gimmick there. Wrestling is about money, but it is so much more than that. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Making it just about money is like I said, I understand because you're running a business, but at the same time, um, it's not. You can't just treat it like that. You've got rivals that are building up their company very, very fast. They don't even care about the programming they're putting out as to rival how good the stories at AEW are. They just care about maybe keeping money in the bank. That's what it looks like. That's what it's beginning to look like, definitely. NK says here, even when you are strictly focusing on business, shouldn't consumer satisfaction be an important thing to consider? Always, because there's no business without the consumer. If everyone that watches WWE now says, okay, yeah, that's it, canceling the network. I mean, the network was already not doing well, hence why they shifted it all over to Peacock. The network never became the thing they thought it would be. The network was meant to be, you know, a whole Netflix. Remember, that's the kind of big plans they had for the network. Never came to fruition. Now they've more or less got rid of it through this Peacock deal. They're doing business. They're operating in the wrestling business, and I think that's about it. Draw the line under that statement, because nothing else they're doing necessarily seems to be right, if you see what I mean. In terms of how they're handling human beings, in terms of the contracts they're giving these guys, in terms of how they're, you know, sticking them out on the road back to back, day to day, all of that kind of stuff. There is no business without the consumers, and there's no business without the employees, the people that work for you. Arpit says reports are coming back that Black was filming vignettes for his return and won't get released. I hope this is true. Yeah, so to be honest, someone asked a question. I remember I was listening to some like a press thing last week or so, and someone asked about Alistair Black, and I think all they said was, yeah, he's recovering from injury. That there are plans for Alistair Black, but yeah, right now he was injured and recovering from injury. So the fact that they gave his status, it was like injured status rather than, you know, he's fallen out of favor or anything like that. That is very interesting. Funny enough, though, I had actually got a scoop, if you like. I remember maybe about a month ago now. It's on my Instagram page. One of my posts, that Vince had said that he sees nothing, absolutely nothing, for Andrade, Bo Dallas, Alistair Black, and I believe Shayna Baszler. He sees nothing in them. Absolutely nothing. Obviously, Shayna Baszler is still women's tag champion right now. Andrade is gone. As of today, Bo Dallas is gone. And last but not least, I guess, is Alistair Black, who's still around. So hopefully that's the case. I'm sure Alistair Black probably wants his release at this point, but we'll see. Bo Dallas kept his job for a year last year, when, you know, a lot of people, when Heath Slater lost his job, would think, yeah, Bo Dallas would go as well. Curtis Axel lost his job last year. We thought, you know, maybe he goes because he was in a tag team with Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas managed to keep his job for a whole year, and we didn't see him on TV. I don't believe he was on TV or featured in a match or anything like that. So there's no maths to how they're doing this. It's literally like you and you. You're gone. Bye. Like, there doesn't seem to be any kind of formula to how this is being done. Arpit says, I hope AEW becomes more popular than these shitty people. Look, they're well on the way. You told me, Arpit, 1.2 million that AEW Dynamite got last night. 1.2 million. That's not the 1 million they've been trying to reach. They've surpassed that by another 200,000 people. So that clearly shows that everyone that, you know, I'll say it like this. Maybe about the third of the people that would watch AEW on a Wednesday night alongside NXT went and watched NXT as well. So NXT gained maybe by about 200,000 new viewers, or viewers coming to watch it live. And then probably about everyone that watches NXT on a regular basis watched Dynamite last night. That really boosted these numbers, because to achieve 1 million is one thing. They weren't ever too far away from achieving, you know, 1 million. But to go on, to kick on, and to achieve 1.2 million people when you're averaging before that around, you know, about the 700,000 mark, that's another 500,000 people have tuned in to watch your show. And if that isn't enough evidence for WWE to pull their finger out and, you know, start taking things seriously, then what is? What is gonna do it? You know, the people that your show on Tuesday night didn't get 1 million. It done better. He got 800,000. He done better. He didn't get 1 million though. And AEW surpassed the 1 million they've been chasing. 1.2 million first night. They should be shaking in their boots by right, but they're so arrogant at times, complacent, that they probably won't care. They probably won't care. I think I missed a comment. Let's just see. Black Nito, thanks for joining us. He said the WWE is very much like a child with all the toys that gets bored with some and throw them away every year. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You know, a friend flew on the Kick Out podcast. He illustrated it great on our last podcast. He said, you know, this is my Roman Reigns toy. This is my Charlotte Flair. I'm playing with my brand new toy, Alexa Bliss. The rest of you get lost. And that's how it is. When you're not in vogue, you're not in vogue and he don't care about you. Arpit says, see, the network was down, so Vince had a deal for 1 billion and said F off to the fans by selling their tapes and shows. See, even the stuff they wanted to do, how many years were they banging on about $9.99 by the network, $9.99? They then make it free for a month, $9.99. Network's gone to piss, mate. Obviously, us in the UK, we've still got it. Don't know for how much longer. Well, right now it's fine, but you know, the Peacock network in America, and everyone's complaining about it. People don't know when they're gonna get all the kind of regular programming on it. You don't know what they're doing over there. Like it's like, what are you guys doing? Jonathan Rodney, thanks for joining us, bro. He says AEW is about to take them all. I don't think so. You know, these guys are obviously on big contracts as well. AEW has a lot of personnel. You know, just today on our podcast, Elite Maniac podcast, which is up on the channel, so you guys can check that out. Mike was saying that there were 16 matches on Dark and there were 16 matches on Dark Elevation. Do you know how crazy that is? 16 matches. Like, it shows as well, they've got a lot of people they're working with. Now, not all of these people, these 16 people are, you know, what do you call it? They're not all talents as in terms of signed talents, but they're there. They're there in the bout. They're being looked at. They're being trialed, maybe, if you want to put it like that. It's very difficult for AEW to sign all of these guys, in my opinion, man. Although there's a lot of them that I would like to see turn up at AEW. Just refreshing the list. I think it seems like they've slowed down now for releases. I don't want to see anyone else's name here, to be completely honest. Samoa Joe, I would love to turn up in AEW. I'd absolutely love to turn up in AEW. He's got a lot to offer. He's a big star in terms of wrestling. But we can see with, you know, the most recent signee, Ethan Page, and I'm not here trying to compare Ethan Page to Samoa Joe, but we can see Ethan Page hasn't even made his mark yet on TV, really. So that just shows you how much space, or should I say the lack of space, there is on AEW's roster right now. Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, like we said, Peyton Royce's husband, Sean Spears, part of the Pinnacle. I think she will end up. And Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, they get back together as a tag team. They were split too early, in my opinion. Even if you saw something in Peyton Royce, they were split far too early. And you get them back together and let them do their thing. Great characters. They may not be the top of everyone's choice when it comes to wrestlers or wrestling ability, but these are great characters, and AEW Women's Division are they're getting better at storytelling and stuff like that. But character-wise, they could really do with an injection of these guys. Mickie James, I say you take her to AEW, surely for the experience and the value that she could offer the locker room, especially the female locker room, the women's locker room. Chelsea Green probably goes back to Impact. Her partner is there. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder. But yeah, I guess with the Forbidden Door open, why couldn't we see Chelsea Green in WWE? Sorry, in AEW if she did sign for Impact. The rest I think is just wherever they turn up. Kalisto, I'm sure, will land on his feet. Tucker, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. Bo Dallas could be someone we see in Impact. Tucker and Wesley Blake, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure where they could turn up. But yeah, there's just there's a lot. It's a lot happening, man. It's absolutely crazy. Arpit, NXT was also benefited. This separates nights thing is so good. Yeah, it's everyone's benefited from it, but it just shows that in terms of for anyone that was kind of who won the Wednesday night wars, and I hate talking about Wednesday night wars, and I hate talking about ratings, but you telling me today, bro, that they scored 1.2 million on what I call a regular show. This wasn't like one of their special TV shows, you know, their TV specials. This was a show which started with a great tag match, ended up with a great TNT match, some good stuff in between, but it wasn't like a 10 out of 10 show. It got 1.2 million. AEW are doing better than NXT. AEW are doing better than main roster in terms of storytelling. They're getting close to Raw numbers. Raw is usually about anywhere from 1.5, 1.6 up. Yeah. And when I say up, it's not like over 2 million. um, so yeah, they're getting Raw numbers. They're getting close to Raw numbers, man. So the WWE have to sit up and pay attention. Like, how can't you? NK says, do you think things will change under Triple H if he takes over the WWE? I would love to think so. I can't, to be honest, I can't speak on if anything could change in terms of how they handle human beings, because that seems to be somewhat ingrained. But definitely we're getting better stories. We're getting better storylines. How things are put together will make a lot more sense. And yeah, maybe just how, you know, Triple H runs the roost in NXT. NXT is not really a bloated roster. They've brought in a lot of females recently, but it looks like they've got a plan because they're getting this second NXT show, NXT Evolve. So that seems to be the reason why, as to they're bringing in so many other talents. But NXT rotates through its talents very nicely. There isn't anyone that you're ever wondering for too long, oh, they haven't been on TV. Where is this person? So I have a lot more faith in Triple H than Vince. That's 100%. I think everyone does, to be honest. But I'm not sure what it's necessarily going to take before we see Vince step down. I can't see him ever stepping down in his lifetime. So we're here to the end with Vince, in my opinion. It's what it looks like, at least. Ross Cooper, thanks for joining us, bro. Ross has said the most frustrating thing about this is not like WWE don't put out enough content to make use of these people. Oh. Excellent point. AEW had over 70 wrestlers on Dynamite last week. Factions have so many benefits. Ross, you can come and take my job, mate, because you've hit the nail on the head. There is more than enough programming to use these guys. 3 hours of Raw. Like, I mean, let's look at these names again, right? Samoa Joe was on Raw, so Samoa Joe can easily, in my opinion, be slid into somewhere on Raw or SmackDown, anywhere. Like, this guy can be slid in, no issues. Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, right? They can be easily slid in the women's tag division, which is a division that goes over 2 shows right now. So there shouldn't be any issue there. Instead of you always trying to make teams together, Charlotte and Asuka, Rhea Ripley and Asuka, you've got tag teams and you don't want to use them. Don't want to use them in the appropriate way. Mickie James as well. Like, they brought her back through NXT She never really did anything on the main roster. Mickie James, for those that don't know, she was commentating on the pre-show of NXT TakeOver just last week. Stand and Deliver. She was the commentator on the pre-show with Vic Joseph on both nights. So you can see how these people were just being used. Obviously, Samoa Joe, commentator at WrestleMania. There's more than enough place. You know, Kalisto, that's 205 live straight away. It's beyond me. You've hit the nail on the head there, Ross. That's a very, very good point. There is more than enough programming to show these talents, and you know, to give these guys all a fair go at it. Jonathan Rodney says Iconics could go AEW. Yeah, I would put money on them turning up in AEW before too long. Obviously, they've got like a 90-day release clause at this point, I'm guessing. But yeah, because of the Sean Spears connection there, I'm sure he could definitely pull some strings with Cody. He's good friends with Cody, and get his missus a job, his missus and her friend into the company. And like I said, they would be welcome additions. That's not just a pity hire. I just think that you should sign them. They're very good. Arpit says here, in India, they have shifted the network on Sony Live, and it seems fine for now. It's $4 a year though. Okay, so yeah, at least you know it's working for you guys out there. But yeah, generally, you know, if we're honest with ourselves, and if WWE are honest with ourselves, the network failed. Making the network is failed. It has not turned out how they expected it to. And now they find themselves, you know, where they are. Jonathan Rodney says he wants to see Joe go to AEW. Yeah, I think right now, I think the whole world wants to see Joe go to AEW. Put in the comments some dream matches you would like to see him have in AEW. Arpit and I were speaking earlier about dream matches for Joe in New Japan. Which would be great. It'd be really fun to see him have a New Japan run. But yeah, put in the comments some Samoa Joe AEW dream matches that you would like to see. We'll go through those in just a second. Black Nito, WWE had no incentive to improve because regardless of ratings, they're still making tons of money. Complacency, completely complacent. These are calculated releases and they have no real fear of AEW. And that's it. That is it. And this goes back to NK's point earlier on in the comments in regards to consumer satisfaction, where the consumers were not satisfied. They think because we're still watching it, we're satisfied, and maybe more for us. But it's more for me. It's like you tune in every week hoping it gets better. You're hoping it gets better. You're hoping the product improves. SmackDown's good, in my opinion. SmackDown's good. It's good TV. NXT is usually good TV. It's Raw. Raw is the problem, but Raw is your flagship show. It shouldn't be the issue. It should be the best of the three, you know. But yeah, like you said, these are calculated releases. It's crazy. It's crazy to think. It's just some of the names involved. It's just like we just saw these guys over the weekend, over the past week, and they're all of a sudden unemployed. Ross Cooper says AEW shouldn't sign all of these guys. Mickie James, yes, maybe the Iconics, but honestly, throw all the money at Joe. All of it. He's so good. He could have been a multi-time WWE champion by now. And that is another massive regret. That is another massive regret because Joe, that's the belt he didn't get. He had the mid-card belt. The tag team, well, he's not a tag team person, so fair enough. But I just can't believe, you know, it looks like Joe is going to end his career without a Universal or WWE championship. Like, this guy's catalog for wrestling alone, like, these are one of the people that I won't go as far as say his forefathers, because obviously there's loads of people that came before him. But of this era, of this generation, Samoa Joe, if you're a big wrestling fan, is a household household name. From Ring of Honor to Impact, other indie promotions, to eventually making his way to NXT. Two-time NXT champion. I think he was the first two-time NXT champion before Shinsuke Nakamura became one, and then Finn Balor. It's going to the WWE main roster. Like I said earlier, I think Samoa Joe only ever had one WrestleMania match, and that was a 1-minute match for the US Championship against Rey Mysterio in WrestleMania 35. He's just never had a fair crack. Since he came to main roster, he just never had a fair crack of it. I remember them bringing him in to the main roster in a very explosive way in that angle between Rollins and Triple H. And Samoa Joe was basically the hired gun. Samoa Joe injured Rollins, if I remember, in that story. Rollins was on the shelf for a bit. That's it. Like his CV for WWE for main roster commentary is probably more memorable than the stuff he actually got to do on the main roster. He had a nice little feud with AJ Styles or Wendy and all of that stuff. That was jokes. Like I say, US champion for a bit, but let's be completely honest. They completely fumbled Joe on the main roster. NK says this just shows why wrestling alternatives are important. 100%, bro. Wrestlers need other places to work. WWE being a monopoly isn't good for wrestling. I hope these other companies continue to grow. That's it. That is it. When AEW came around, that was my biggest thing. These guys have somewhere else to work. I don't have to be forced to stay at WWE. I don't have to be forced to just take a paycheck from this place and sit in catering. I can actually now go out, and work elsewhere, apply my talents elsewhere. If they have aspirations of making it to the very top of the industry, and as we have to be honest with ourselves, it is still WWE. They can go elsewhere. They can come back. And yeah, it's possible. The door may still be open if they've made a good impression elsewhere, but that is why it's important for the indies to thrive. It's important for these other companies that are above indie level, maybe the Impacts and the AEWs to really kick on, and NJPW to really kick on, because we're just creating more and more workplaces so that we're not all tuning into one thing that's subpar, Arpit says Kalisto may go to CMLL or New Japan. Yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see where he will end up. I don't think he would have an issue getting a job, even if it's back in Mexico. I think that would be fine. I'm just gonna check something because I've just received an update into my. Let's just have a look at this. More on Bo Dallas release. Bo Dallas was unfortunately among those released by WWE this week after being out of action since 2019. We haven't seen Bo Dallas feature from 2019, and it's now that they're cutting him. Wow. Bo Dallas had been backstage at some recent episodes of WWE SmackDown, but we'd been told, we as in Fightful, this is Fightful reporting, but we've been told that he no longer figured into any creative plans whatsoever. He'd also started looking into additional business ventures. I think that's when we heard about the property venture that he has with Liv Morgan. He was at WrestleMania festivities as of Friday and participated in a test match for a couple of minutes while WWE tested out their setup. So for those of you ridiculously wondering if he portrayed the Fiend at any point, he didn't. Yeah, I guess there was those rumors that he played the Fiend at WrestleMania, that he was dressed as the Fiend and had the match with Randy Orton. But even still, this is another person I guess they've kind of used in some capacity. I'll just repeat that. He was at WrestleMania festivities as of Friday and participated in a test match for a couple of minutes while WWE tested out their setup. Apart from that, Bo Dallas hadn't been seen since 2019. Incredible. Absolutely incredible, bro. Like, just why didn't you get rid of him last year? I don't know. This is weird. Arpit says, "Oh, believe me, I don't care about ratings either. 1.2 million got me surprised. Yeah, 100% it got me surprised. That's a fantastic result. Well done to AEW. That is a really good result, and I really hope that between them, that gives them the confidence to say that people are really tuning in and liking their product. It gives the network confidence to really back them in terms of giving them more TV time if that's what they're after, and it gives the fans confidence that this is for anyone that doubts AEW this, that, and the other. No, they're a good respectable company and they're coming. Black Nito, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce should sign with Impact because there's an established, if not light, women's tag division. Correct. That's a very good point. Obviously, they've got the knockout championships there, the tag knockout championships. So there is a women's division there for them to compete in. So yeah, that could be, and obviously with the whole forbidden door being open, they could find themselves in AEW anyway through Impact. So there, that is a very good point as well. Arpit says here, Joe versus Darby. I'm a Darby mark. Eddie freaking Kingston, Cassidy, Orange Cassidy, and Pac. Yeah, all good matches that it'll be good to see Samoa Joe as part of. Joe is Kabashi of this era. Yeah, he's iconic, man. He is iconic. It's crazy how this has happened. Honestly, it's crazy. Jonathan Rodney says Joe versus Darby. So another one. Yeah, that could be a good match. Darby, I'm sure, would sell the hell out of Samoa Joe's offense. Black Nito says, I came in late initially, but I do know Kalisto wanted his release for some time. As you said, he will not have a hard time finding a job. I can see him and Bo Dallas in ROH or MLW. That's another one. MLW is kind of coming up as well. I think some people were saying earlier, Samoa Joe versus Jacob Fatu over in MLW would be a brilliant match to see. It's crazy. I can't even believe, a year to the day. I was seeing on the timeline earlier this morning, a year to the day, this person that was released and all of this, that they had Black Wednesday, as they called it, at the time when all the guys were released. But here we are again, a year later. This isn't a day that you should be making something out of. This shouldn't become a thing. You see what I mean? Like, but it looks like it's very much becoming a thing. One more time, we're just gonna refresh this and let's just have a look. WWE have come to terms on the release of Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake as of today, April 15th, 2021. We wish them the best in all of their future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something crazy. Alex Harrison in the chat, thanks for joining us, bro. He says that today is customary. I guess it has become that. Jeremiah, thanks for joining us. He says Peyton Royce might go to AEW and join Sean Spears. Yeah, we've spoken a lot about that. I think that is very likely that could happen. I don't see the Iconics splitting up though. I see them reforming the tag team and making their way. I think they split the tag teams too early. So I think they're going to rekindle as a tag team and go wherever they're going to go together. AEW was built off this DNA. I'm guessing you mean the DNA of released talent. Not necessarily true, I wouldn't say so, but obviously it helps. It definitely helps. Arpit says Darby hit a coffin drop and Joe catches him in a coquina clutch. that would be a great spot to see. That would be a really good spot. Alex says Billy Kay to AEW. Yeah. Peyton didn't get released. Peyton definitely got released, bro. They announced Billy Kay first, and then they announced Peyton Royce maybe about 20, 30 minutes later. Peyton Royce has definitely been released. Samoa Joe to AEW, definitely as a manager. Yeah, that could be something interesting to see. Although I'm sure he still wants to wrestle. I'm pretty sure he said in the last 2 or 3 weeks that he still wants to wrestle. So I don't think he's quite done, but yeah, he could definitely be a mouthpiece for somebody. That would be great. Guys, like I said, I didn't expect to come on here and speak about this today. I recorded everything I had to do. The AEW Dynamite review is up on the channel, so do check that out. Elite Maniac podcast. But yeah, we've lost some really good people in from this roster. It's a shame. It really is a shame. But I guess the show goes on. We'll talk more about these releases and stuff in the upcoming days. Of course, it's gonna be a thing going forward. Clearly, 15th of April next year, this is gonna be a thing again. Very unfortunate, but you know, with the success of AEW right now and other companies, MLW, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, you know, hopefully these men and women find their feet. NWA as well. These men and women find their feet and they get back into work in 90 days time, and they're much happier because it seems like there's a lot of relief when you get released from WWE because you're not doing much anyway. Yeah, it will come as a surprise, the actual release, but you know, you got to take it as an opportunity. So wish all these men and females, men and women, the best. That could be. Jeremiah has just said here, I heard Alistair Black, Ricochet, and Lana could join AEW after their contracts expire. Yeah, that doesn't. None of those names surprise me. Alistair Black, why wouldn't they want him? Ricochet, why wouldn't they want him? And Lana, her husband works there. So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. By the time those guys' contracts could be up, you know, they may have another 2 or 3 hours of TV time. So, you know, that could be absolutely fine. So, yeah, guys, it's just absolutely crazy. Alex Harrison has said here they could be wrestling coaches as well. Yeah, there's opportunity for that. I think some of them might go into kind of coaching or giving extra experience, or like a part-time kind of role. Yao Nabi, thanks for joining us. They said that Joe would have a hell of a run in New Japan. We've spoken at length about that already. Like, yeah, some of the names that he could take on would be fantastic. I would definitely want to see it. Just a complete shame for me that Joe never really had a fair crack of the whip in WWE. The minute he made it to main roster, yes, there has been a lot of injuries, but when he wasn't injured, he just was never kind of booked as, you know, one of the guys, and he is a top guy. And for me, I'm always looking at wrestlers' ages, and by the time he got to the main roster, he was, you know, already deep late 30s, maybe even early 40s. And if you really want to make something of this guy's last, you know, days, you got to do something with him relatively quickly, and they just never did. They just never did. Alex Harrison says Joe would be better as a personality at this point. Yeah, you could say that, but I think he still wants to wrestle. Joe still wants to go on and wrestle, so who are we to kind of say where he should be or what will be best for him? He still wants to do what he loves, so yeah, we just have to kind of see if he gets the opportunity to wrestle at any one of these companies we've mentioned today. I'm sure we would all be happy to see him in the ring regardless. West Coast Popcasts My guys, thanks for joining us. They've dropped here that I think the Iconics will be fine in the AEW Women's Division, 100%. It's still growing as Samoa Joe too, but AEW is getting crowded. They're going to need that second main show very soon. Yeah, all points that we've discussed and raised here today, and with them getting 1.2 million in the ratings, that second show needs to come, sooner rather than later. They're clearly onto something. If they get that second show, that would be very, very, very useful, especially where they can sign more talent. Now they'll need to sign more talent of a higher grade, because not everyone that we're seeing on Dark and Dark Elevation is ready for TV yet. Let's just be honest. So yeah, definitely. Arpit says Tucker just tweeted a cool photo while playing golf and wrote making lemonade. Yeah, man, when life throws you lemons, you know what to do. You know what to do, man. Um, let them guys enjoy. Like I said, they're basically still contracted for another 90 days, and then they can, put into plan their action, what they want to do after that. West Coast Popcast, what's up, man? This is crazy. They released Joe after he carried the commentary team for them. He needed this big run. Yeah, man. I released a video last Friday that said, 5 stars that WWE need to push after WrestleMania. And my number one was Samoa Joe. And he's gone. I had booked Samoa Joe to win Money in the Bank and all sorts, terrorize Bobby Lashley, terrorize Roman Reigns, and then eventually make his choice. Not gonna happen now. Not gonna happen now, is it? He's lost his job. He's been released, and I can only say I really hope he goes on and puts the sword to this decision. This is someone that recently just said he wants to wrestle again as well. So they recently just gave him his own segment on the bump as well. So really struggling to understand why they would do this, or why this has happened. Maybe, we get that famous Chris Jericho shoot interview from Samoa Joe soon, and all will be explained. We'll see. Maybe he chose to. Maybe if they said, "Well, we don't want to put you back in the ring. We want to put you in some other type of commentary or interview or stuff." For those that obviously, if you saw the NXT pre-show, Stand and Deliver, he was doing interviews on that as well. So they've put him in quite a few interview or talky kind of positions in recent times. Maybe WWE just didn't see him as an in-ring guy no more, and he still wants to wrestle. So he said, "I want to leave." Then that very much could be the case. WWE is going the younger face route. You know what, Alex? I don't believe that WWE knows any route that they're taking. I don't believe it. When it comes to putting on the match, the actual match, and delivering a high standard match, that's completely down to the competitors involved, and they pull it out of the bag. But when it comes to them taking credit for future planning and this and that happening, I don't really give them credit, to be honest. There's not enough of a track record to show that we should be giving them credit for decisions they make. So I can't agree that they're going for a younger face route. You say that, and then tomorrow they're bringing Goldberg. So yeah. NK says Samoa Joe vs Brian Cage would be mental. Yeah, another good shout for a dream match, 100%. Alex says Randy Orton is viewed as an elder. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's in relation to, bro, but yeah, obviously they've got a mix of ages on the roster currently. NK says Samoa Joe versus Lance Archer. Yeah, that could be another very good and interesting match. Lance Archer definitely, it's like very stop start in AEW. 1 minute he's not doing much, next minute he's very popular, and then nothing. We don't see anything else from him. He's gone a bit quiet again now. So Black Nito, short of fans affecting the WWE by viewing or purchasing their products, the only thing that will stop this poor treatment and behavior will be talent refusing to sign with them. Yeah. 100%. But then at the same time, you'll always get one person that will take the check. They'll take the check even when they shouldn't, because there's potential for it to end like this. But as soon, where people have bills to pay, we can't expect things to go swimmingly or as we want all the time. But you're right. At the moment, there's too much pulling power, and it's gonna need to take, contracts being a certain way, or people just refusing to sign with them for a certain period, and then they can see that the power is shifting. They no longer have as much power as they thought they did. Arpit says he would think the release was mutual. Yeah. In regards to Joe, yeah, that's what I'm beginning to think as well. Maybe they had no plans for him to wrestle, and he said, "Well, I want to get back in the ring." And they said, "Well, would you like to leave then?" Something along those lines. West Coast Popcast agrees with me. No credit at all. Just don't give them no credit. I'm down with that. Also go on to say Mojo Rawley is sweating bullets right now. Mojo Rawley still has a job. That's another person that, I don't think we've seen Mojo Rawley since last WrestleMania, when he was hosting it with Gronkowski. I don't think we've seen Mojo Rawley since then. So, yeah, that could be another candidate for the chop, depending on if they're still chopping people or not. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, I really can't believe that we're sitting here talking about this a year to the day where they done the first big chop. West Coast Popcast, I wonder if Joe and Archer ever fought in TNA. Yeah, I mean, possibility of it. I think they were there at about the same time. My knowledge of TNA is not great. I wasn't a frequent watcher of it, but I think they were there at the same time. I guess Joe was pretty much the same Joe we have today, but Archer was kind of different. So maybe we need a 2021 version. Daniel, thanks for joining us. He says it's like they're trying to annoy us. They're always trying to annoy us. They're literally always trying to annoy us. And just after WrestleMania, where you've had crowds in, people have paid their money. They've put confidence in you that they're not going to step out and get a virus or anything like that. In the middle of a pandemic, people have come to watch your biggest show of the year. This is how you repay everyone. This is how, and you know what? Again, it's like, it doesn't make sense, because they will do this now. If this was like after WrestleMania, let's say after WrestleMania, they took the rest of April off and the new season starts in May, and they done all of this, they cleared people out here, they signed people, and at the beginning of May, they done the draft, this would all somewhat make sense. Like, I feel like this would all somewhat make sense, but it's just, they just do it when they want. They'll do this, they'll have WrestleMania. 2 weeks later, they get rid of everyone, or 1 week later, they're getting rid of everybody. Then in October, they'll do the draft. There's just no method to the madness at all. None. Arpit, I guess he's confirming here, Joe never wrestled with Archer in TNA. Absolutely no method to the madness. Let's just check this one last time for the day. It seems as if they're done. Last year there was a lot of names on this list, but it looks like they've kind of went through it all. And this all happened just about 3 hours ago, people. 3 hours ago to about 2.5 hours ago, when the releases started coming through. WWE has come to terms on the release of Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. As of today, April 15th, 2021. We wish them the best in all of their future endeavors. That's it. That's the list. A couple of big names there. Obviously, Samoa Joe, the biggest of them all. Even though he hasn't wrestled for quite a while, he's still a massive name on the scene. Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, we imagine they'll find their feet maybe in the tag division, the women's tag division, and Impact. most likely in AEW, where Peyton Royce's husband Sean Spears is working currently as part of the Pinnacle. Mickie James, I definitely think, should fall and find herself in some type of mentor kind of role in AEW. I think that could be very beneficial. But same way, she might turn up in NWA, where her husband Nick Aldis is. Chelsea Green, maybe she returns to Impact. She's already been Impact Women's Champion over there, Knockouts Champion, I believe it's called. Where that's also where her partner Matt Cardona is. Kalisto, we assume we may see him MLW, CMLL. Bo Dallas, I threw out maybe Impact if he has any interest in still wrestling. I'm not so sure. Wesley Blake and Tucker, not too sure where they could possibly end up, but yeah, it's a lot, man. West Coast Pops cast says here a lot of rumors saying it was going to continue tomorrow. Well, I mean, I guess where you guys are in the world in the US, if you're on the East Coast, if I'm correct, it's maybe the end of the working day for you guys now, about now, 5-6 o'clock. So maybe that's the case. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to see this continue, but it is what it is. Black Nito says mildly salty comment here, but Samoa Joe gets released, yet David Otunga is still gainfully employed by the WWE. I'm guessing the size of David Otunga's contract is not a big one. He's probably just got some type of broadcaster contract. I don't know what the size of those are, but I'm assuming Samoa Joe is operating as a wrestler, but on the commentary desk in terms of contract. So it might be a financial decision, and Otunga might be on some type of appearance contract as well. Like I said, I don't want this to be a thing of oh, they should have sacked this person instead. No one should be losing their job. You wouldn't like it if this was yourself and people were nominating you to be sacked at work rather than someone else. But yes, there are better choices that could be made if you're just purely trying to free up some space on the wage budget. There are better choices that could have been made. I agree with that. But yeah, I don't think we should. This isn't necessarily our problem. Getting into picking who should lose their job and who shouldn't. That's not our business. We don't want anyone to lose their job, really. Arpit says he's leaving us. He's going to sleep. I guess where he is in the world is late now, and yeah, I'm jumping off soon myself because it's just gone after 10 p.m. here in the UK. F50 has said, when you see how AJ thrived in WWE, it's really sad how it ended with Joe. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. AJ was always brought in as a big star, though, and obviously for what he's done in wrestling, he is massive. But Joe has kind of done the same thing on like an indie-ish kind of level or in an indie kind of way. I hold Joe in massive regard, and that's why this is crazy to me. And crazy to all of us, probably. F50 also says, also, I hate saying ex wrestler should be signed by AEW, but Joe is a no brainer. Yeah. I didn't want to sit here. I've been on here for nearly 2 hours now, and I didn't want to sit here and say this person should go to AEW, this person should go here. But some of them are no brainers, in my opinion. And like I said, 100%, I think if there's space for him and they're going to use him straight away, Samoa Joe is a no brainer. To AEW and Mickie James as well for me to help enhance that women's division from an experience point of view. Same way they've got Sting in there, same way they've got Christian, they've got Jake the Snake, Tully Blanchard. That's the kind of role I'll still give Mickie James. If she still wants to compete, have one-off matches here and there, fine, cool. But I would definitely be looking to bring in Mickie James and Samoa Joe into AEW. Yeah. Daniel says Punk's pipe bomb 9 years after. And a lot of the things he said still ring true today. We can see that they still ring true today. But yeah, guys, you know what? I think Joe can go by the same name, F50, Samoa Joe. It wasn't WWE that gave him that name. So yeah, I assume that can still be a thing for him. I'm sure they probably, just like with AJ Styles, they just license the name from them so they can use for merch and all of that kind of stuff. But his name is his name. Guys, we're gonna draw it to a close. We're gonna bring it to a close. I've been on here for nearly 2 hours, just breaking the news and talking about it with you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure, if you're new here, you subscribe to the channel, and if you could please hit the thumbs up button on your way out, so more people can see this chat we've had today, this live stream discussing all things WWE releases. One more time for the record, we'll just double check. The names released are Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. We wish them all the best in all of their future endeavors, says WWE. I wish them the best as well. I hope they land on their feet. There's a lot of places that they can go and be active and make the most of their careers. Maybe if they wish one day, circle back around to WWE. But yeah, guys, that is it. Do all the usual for me, please. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.